Hey guys, welcome back to the Privacy Guy. Today I want to discuss briefly why free and open source software will always be more private, will always be more privacy friendly, will always be better for protecting your privacy than a private proprietary software. So let's look at search engines, for example. Um, you have something like DuckDuckGo, which, as far as I know, is a great company for privacy. They're dedicated to minimizing tracking on the internet and keeping your search data private, not giving it to Google because DuckDuckGo cares about your privacy. Um, and then you have something like Searx, Searx. It's an open source search engine that has a number of different distributions that people can use. I think the most popular one is Searx.me. And basically, Searx will always be better for privacy than DuckDuckGo. And the reason that's the case is because, one, it's free and it doesn't make money. So a company that's profit driven, even if it's like like DuckDuckGo, for example, obviously cares about how much money they make, but they donate a portion of their revenue to privacy-friendly companies. Like, that's a good sign as far as I'm concerned, but let's say at some point 5 to 10 years from now, DuckDuckGo gets approached by Google or Apple or Mozilla or some company that wants to purchase the search engine. Well, if somebody wants to purchase them, well then the search engine DuckDuckGo isn't in that company's control anymore. It's in the new company's hands, and they can determine whatever they want to do. And let's say they don't want it to be private anymore. Okay, well, we're going to use user tracking and all that stuff. Like, that's always a fear with private proprietary software, is that it gets sold and it changes the practices of the product. And secondly, they're like the fact that DuckDuckGo could lose half of its user base and decide, well, in order to sustain our company, let's sell user data under the table. Like, let's start tracking user data and selling it to Facebook or Amazon or whatever. And because it's a proprietary software, and I can't just look at DuckDuckGo and see everything that's going on, there's no way to verify that DuckDuckGo isn't doing that. So something like Searx, that I can view the source code, I can see exactly what happens when I type in a search and hit enter. I'm fairly confident that there's nothing seedy going on because I can see the code that's actually executing when I complete a search. And proprietary software, regardless of how good the privacy is of the given company, can always include things that the user doesn't know about. And as I said, profits can drive a company to do things that aren't necessarily in the best interest of the end user, but rather in the interest of the company to drive profits. So proprietary software just isn't necessarily as trustworthy as something that's open source. And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I think it is possible to have a company that's private with proprietary products and services, but there's no way for the end user to verify that. So open source products are verifiably private. So you can use something like OpenVPN, which is open source. It's a VPN framework that allows you to connect to the internet through a VPN that's completely open source, compared to something like ExpressVPN or NordVPN, where even if the company themselves are located in a good country for privacy laws, all the data is anonymous, or they don't track any data, they don't collect any data. Still, I would recommend the open source product over the private proprietary one, just because the privacy practices could change at any time, And they could on the open source as well, but at least you'd be able to see the change and say, okay, well, I don't want to use this product anymore. But with a private product, private search engine, private VPN, whatever it is, any private company can make those changes, and you're just kind of at the liberties of what the company says they're doing. So that's just something I wanted to point out. Free and open source software, if you're concerned about privacy and freedom from tracking and all that stuff, open source is the way to go. There's a number of open source examples that I can share in a link in the description. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. So thanks for watching.